Hey folks, how are you guys today? Good? I really hope so. Today, I'd like to start the second episode of one playlist that I've created, which is called The Life of the Married Man. But I have to explain something before I move on. And before I move on, I'd like to say thank you for you being here. And I hope that you can get something good from here, okay? Alright. When I created this playlist, actually the three playlists, which are the life of the father, the life of the married man, and the life of the single man, I had in mind the idea of creating maybe 10 episodes from each of the playlists talking about key factors of the life of the man. But I don't think I'm gonna make it. I think it's gonna be better to simply finish the main topics that I had written. I've talked about a couple of them previously in the first episode, but yeah, I'm gonna just finish what I had in mind, and then I'll have the freedom to add some new episode according to some extra thoughts or things that I consider relevant for that. One of the reasons I decided to change my mind and my plans was because many of the things that we can talk about here, they are mostly revolving some base topics, which are how much you trust the other person, love, and companionship. So I think that if you are someone who is engaged to the relationship and want to make it happen, and if your wife, if the woman beside you also has the same idea, I think that you guys are inclined to be successful in all of the topics or most of them. So I prepared some things. Oh, I think I've lost. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to buy. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna. Yeah. I don't need to pause or do anything like this. I've written some topics here, for example, individuality, being conscious of who you are, regardless your wife, finances, sexuality, this kind of thing. But like I said, I think that if you are trustful, if you want to make it happen, and if you love your wife, and if your wife loves you and respects you, I think that it is simply a matter of a bit of knowledge, that can help you to improve and to have a better relationship. Just to make it clear, let's talk about finances, for example. There are women who want to be with financially successful men. And the question here is, do you aim to be someone rich, for example? And what are the expectations of your wife? I think that this can solve a lot of problems. I've met along my life women who wanted to have a relationship, and the finances were not a major problem. And I'm not talking about uh, teenagers, or no, I'm talking about, in many of the cases, grown up women that were relatively independent, um, and they wanted to have a relationship, and finances were never the sort of major problem for them. So if you are together with someone like this, then running for a better career doesn't need to be a problem for you. And the thing is, are you happy with your career, and is your wife happy with your career? Then it's fine. I think that the problem is when they don't know what to expect from each other. The man and the woman are still married, but I don't know. The woman wants to live overseas, and the man is happy by living in his own country. And maybe they've talked about it, but they never really been too serious about that. But depending on how serious it is for one of the parts, it can bring a problem. Same goes for finances. You know, if you are more, if you like spending money, if you like buying expensive goods, and if your wife is more controlled, or vice versa, how can you guys work this out? No, if one of the parts believe that they don't need to save money for emergencies or unexpected situations, but the other one considers that this is very important, how can you guys proceed? Unfortunately, finances seems to be a major issue or part in a interpersonal relationship. So how much do you know about the other part? Some people don't want to share the money. There is a saying in Brazil that if you cannot share your pocket, you cannot also share your heart. I tend to believe that this is true. A lot of people, they have the culture of my money, your money. I pay the bills and you pay the rent, and oh, I think it can be quite complicated. I think that the best of the worlds is one money, one bank account, and that's it. Of course, there are some situations where when one of the persons um, doesn't have much of control upon his own money, and maybe in some situations different bank accounts can be very considerate. But the thing is, normally one problem doesn't come alone. If the person has issues with spending money, maybe there might be some other issues in life. I don't know. So, mutual knowledge. How much do you know about the other person? You know, some people tend to say that we only get to know the other part when a crisis comes, or if they decide to talk about divorce. I don't really believe so. Look, there are people that can deceive us pretty good. But in general terms, I believe that the limit of the deceiving is actually the other part. I can give a very simple example about myself. Through my life, I've been a victim of narcissistic people. And at some point, under the grace of God, I realized that I decided to get together knowledge, and I got to learn a little bit about this type of personality disorder. And even though I still have a long way to go, I've learned somehow how to protect myself. So the other part didn't change, but I needed to change. So there are liars in the world, people who are compulsive liars, but at some point we realize that. I think that one of the biggest problems is when we get used to it. You know, the classic case, for example, of your friend who is married to an angry woman and she doesn't respect him and she embarrasses him, for example, in public. And at some point he didn't even realize that anymore. He just goes on and he tries to pretend that nothing happened, and he get accustomed to it. That's pretty sad. But I also don't like to give too many advices to people with this type of behavior, for example, because um, I cannot take responsibility upon the consequences of my advices. So I think that some things must be personal. The person the person must want to change, you know. But yeah. So other important key points about finances: planning. How much do you plan your future? If you are happy and if your wife is happy with the situations of you guys right now, fine, perfect. It's the best of the worlds. You don't need to do much. You just need to keep going. You know? But if you want to change, or your wife wants to change, are you ready for that? Are you preparing yourself? Do you guys make agreements? Say, for example, that you want to come back to college and you guys have kids. How you guys are gonna proceed? So you need to take an extra care of the kids while you be in the school, for example. So planning is a very important part, I guess, of the finances in a relationship for everyone, even though if you're single, for example. But there are more people committed to it, so I think it makes the situation more urgent, more important when there are more people involved, I guess. Yeah, I'm talking about situations. I'm talking about regular and normal situations here. But unfortunately, there is a crisis, an ongoing crisis in the world. So say some people. And in a case of unemployment, in a crisis, how can you guys behave? Do you know how your wife can behave in a crisis? Will she jump off the boat or stay with you until the end? From crises that you guys maybe had during the, the time of the dating, how was she in difficult situations? What could you feel about her? You know, feeling. Our feelings can deceive us, but they can also show us things. Nowadays, I can say something about me, and I told this before here. I had my problems with, or I have my problems with anxiety, but thank God I've been learning how to relate with my own emotions. And I think that the feelings that I have towards some people, towards some situations, enlighten me quite a lot about important things. So, what do you feel? Do you know that feeling that something may not be okay? You know. Well, in my case, listening to this voice and trying to separate, to differentiate anxiety from normal feelings has been very helpful. So, what do you feel about your pretended, no, intended, I'm sorry. What's your feeling towards the intended, your potential wife, your fiance? Do you feel okay? Do you trust her completely? Have you guys been in situations that you needed to give her money, for example, lend money, I don't know, and she returned everything, or yeah, you know what I mean, I guess. Individuality, that's also another part. Uh, Sometimes we hear about people who complain about the partner because he changed quite a lot, or uh, people who are angry because the husband or the wife don't change, doesn't change. It is quite complicated because in many cases it seems that after the marriage some people want the other part to change, and I think it happens more from woman to the man. um, I don't know, it is my personal opinion and I've heard from someone else, but it seems that the man doesn't really change too much in terms of behavior of who the person is, you know. And the thing is, are you happy with how the person is today? In essence, you know, the classic case, for example, of the man. Um, yeah, talking about, you know, things that I've saw. Talking about the man, for example, who during the date, the period of date, he he betrayed the girlfriend a couple of times, and she got mad, she got angry, and there is always the promise, but you know, after the marriage, I will change. Don't really think so. Or the wife who betrayed the man when they were dating, and she asked for forgiveness. She said that she would change. I have my problems with that, to be very honest. Um, I believe that everyone has the right to improve in life, you know, but it takes quite a lot of energy and a lot of trust and a lot of efforts to commit one type of mistake once, twice, three times, and then come back and regret and change completely. It can happen, but I don't know. Trust is a very delicate thing. If the person betrayed your trust, mm, yeah, it's complicated. Let me put it this way. I remember, I think I've told before, many years ago, I started a relationship with a lady, and there was not really a date or something. We just, there was a start, but there was a sort of relationship there. I mean, and don't ask me how, but I found out that she was also relating to another man, which happens to be a friend of mine. I've called him. We've talked about the situation, but he didn't really care. And to be very honest, I didn't really care too much as well, because, like I said, there was not really a relationship. There was a beginning of something, but you know, since the beginning, you notice this kind of thing. So not good. And we've trapped her. We've made an agreement. I've called her to come over. She went to my house, and put it this way, and we were talking about something I don't know anymore, and suddenly, between quotes, unexpectedly, this friend of mine rang the bell, and he came inside, and we both uh, asked her, so um, you are with me and also with him. What's going on here? And this guy, he he just kept laughing because he didn't get it all. We were just having fun with the situation. And she was like all nervous and maybe pretending, oh no, but uh, it is not what it looks. Uh, nah, not okay. And funny fact, right at the beginning of this relationship, I was talking to another friend of mine, and he was quite concerned about me. He told me a couple of times, "Hey, friend, please be careful with who you are with, because this lady, she doesn't have a good reputation, and she may be playing with you." And I was like, "No, that's fine. I don't really remember, but I remember of his concern. And look, she probably did it before, and she was doing it again." Yeah, like I said, everyone can change. I've committed a lot of mistakes in my life, and I'm not perfect. I still commit some mistakes. Um, but I think that the difference is the conscience, the conscience that you are committing a mistake, and the conscience that you want and that you need to change. How conscious is the other part? Some people are quite conscious, they cry, they get frustrated when they commit a mistake, but it seems that they are more concerned with the consequences of the acts, not with the acts itself. So, yeah, and how much you need to change. That's another thing. Some people, I don't know, some people stop doing what they like. Some people love drawing, some people love playing games, video games, hanging out with the friends, and they simply stop. There are people who forget who they are the moment they enter their relationship. Look, if the guy is genuinely happy, okay. But is that the case? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes we feel how the person is acting. Men who become quite sad after they get married, and sometimes they complain about the wives, but yeah. So again, do you know who is the other person you're talking with? And you know what's funny? Some of the cases that I just told here, uh, I don't know. I was thinking also about those people that was thinking of, not only during their relationships, but also before. What? How was their relationships before they got married? People who were already conscious about some potential problems, but they still decided to get married. So, if you are not married yet, but if you want to get married, please get to know who the other person is, how she behaves with you, especially during unexpected situations. It can help you quite a lot. Another important part here is sexuality. And again, how much do you know about the other person? What do you consider, for example, as a normal sex life? Is this in harmony with what the other person also thinks about it? You know, I know that's in sort of extreme case, but many years ago, um, I knew about a girl. I never had nothing with her. We merely talked with each other maybe once or twice, but she was dating a guy, and this guy, um, I understood that he was frustrated with the relationship because it seemed that she was, um, how can I say, asexual. It seems that she didn't like having sex. Look, I'm an old school, and I believe that the best of the worlds is having sex only after the marriage. But even before the marriage, you still can have some hints of how the other person behaves. Um, when you are like kissing your girlfriend and things get hotter, the hands start traveling into hidden places, for example, and what's the feeling of the other part? How much there are things that we can feel, that we know. So how does that work? What is important? Can you talk to your fiancé or to your girlfriend about sex life? What she finds important? What do you find important? You know, this lady that was talking about, she she was very pretty, and it seemed that she wanted genuinely to date that guy. I don't know, but yeah, maybe for her, staying together with no intimacy was more than enough. You see, it is very important to get to know the other part, to avoid surprises. We can still have surprises, even talking a lot, getting to know, but if you feel that you are with someone that is very sincere, and that you can feel, you can test the other part before the marriage, the chances, and look that I'm talking about chances, the chances that things will work out good will be bigger. Unfortunately, we are living in a world where a lot of people are getting divorced, a lot of problems are happening. So, unfortunately, we are not immune to those things. But having a good conversation about everything and getting to know the other person in different situations can help you quite a lot. Please, open and sincere conversation. That's what I find important. But you take the responsibility of your own acts, of your own acts. Okay. So this is pretty much what I had in mind to talk with you guys at this moment. And like I said, I try to make myself more available to talk freely about different topics here and there. You know? But if you have suggestions, if you liked something if you didn't like, or if you liked, or if you want to make a comment, if you want to share a story, please feel free to do so. In the description of this episode, you can find the email address, Telegram, and WhatsApp ways to contact me. I'll be more than happy to hear from you. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a blessed day. God keep blessing your life, and hope to see you guys soon here, virtually. Cheers.